إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. If we can start today from page 92. If we can start today from page 92. And the beginning of guidance, inshallah.
Everybody knows, but when you're recording, when people go back and listen, you know what I mean?
We were talking about Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala was explaining the use of the tongue. And we had just started this. If we can start from page 92 at the bottom, inshallah. Yes. Yes. Let's start from the beginning of 96, the beginning of backbiting. Inshallah. On page 96, الثالث الغيبة. So Imam Ghazali says, احفظ لسانك من الغيبة. Restrain your tongue from backbiting. فالغيبة أشد من 30 زنية في الإسلام. For backbiting is a sin more severe for a Muslim than 30 acts of adultery. كذلك الخبر. As is the narration. This is a narration, a hadith. ومعنى الغيبة. The meaning of backbiting أن تذكر إنسانا بما يكرهه لو سمع. The meaning of backbiting is that you make mention of someone in a way that he would dislike if he were to hear it. فأنت مغتاب ظالم. You doing so makes you a backbiter, a wrongdoer. وإن كنت صادقا. Even if what you're saying is true. So you are mentioning something about fulan person who's not in front of us. And you're saying something that if he heard that thing, he would not like that. This is ghiba. This is ghiba. وَإِيَّاكَ وَالْغِيبَةَ الْقُرَّاءِ الْمُرَائِينَ. And he said, beware of the kind of backbiting that is committed by the reciters who are showing off. Remember we said this is the way of the scholars. What do they say? This form وَهُوَ بأن تفهم المقصود منك من غير تصريح فتقول أصلحه الله وقد أساءني ما جرى عليه وغمني فأسأل الله أن يصلحنا وإياه. He says the way they backbite, this form of backbiting is that you make your meaning understood indirectly. This is another way people backbite. Indirectly saying, for example, may Allah rectify that brother. May Allah fix him. I'm truly saddened by what has happened to him, and it's worried me. He makes it seem as if he's concerned for the brother. But what is his niyyah? It's just to backbite him and let everyone know what this brother was doing.
It seems pious to me.
Exactly. He's pretending to be pious. Exactly. And that is why Imam Ghazali said, he said, the pretenders, the reciters who are showing off, I ask Allah to rectify both of us, both us and him. He says, فَإِنَّ هَذَا جَمْعٌ بَيْنَ خَبِيثَيْنِ. He said when a person backbites in this way, he's bringing two khabith things, two insinuations, two reprehensible things. For indeed, this is a combination of two reprehensible acts. One is backbiting, since the other person understands the point being made. The person understands what you're trying to say. So you backbit that person. And the other is considering yourself virtuous and praising yourself by passing judgment of evil on another. The expressing righteousness for yourself. See, by you saying he's doing this, you're indirectly saying that I'm pious, I'm good. I don't do that thing. But we don't realize there's so many other things that we do. that are reprehensible in the sight of other people.
You never know how much Toba that person makes too.
Exactly. Exactly. We don't know how much that person is crying over that deed that he's doing, while you have no concern over the bad deed that you're doing. However, if your true intention in saying, may Allah rectify him, is supplication, then do supplication for him, but silently. If you really want to make dua for him, make quiet dua for him. Don't do it in front of everyone. If you really were concerned about him, the proof of that would have been that you would have not have desired to disgrace him or revealed his faults. A lot of times when people backbite, they try to make it look as if they really care for the person. Imam Ghazali is saying, don't be fooled by that. If he's backbiting him openly, if he really cared for him, he would have went quietly and told him. He would have went to him quietly and said, brother, you're doing this thing. You should be careful of this thing. It's dangerous for you. If he really was concerned for that person. But the mere fact that he does it openly shows you, no matter how much he claims he cares for him, it's not coming out of his care. It's coming out of his spite for this person. So, if you really were concerned about him, the proof of that would have been that you would not have desired to disgrace him or reveal his faults. However, your display of concern over his faults is in reality a display of his faults. Look at what he's saying. Look at that. SubhanAllah. Read that again. He says, however, your display of concern over his faults is in reality a display of his faults. Did everyone get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
It's actually a display of your own fault.
You heard what she said? You're actually displaying your own fault. See, look, what happens after we read this, you become, when you're a doctor, you can diagnose people. You can see something's wrong. You hear a cough, you say, oh, he has this thing. You can diagnose. When we read this book, you become doctors of the heart. And you'll be able to recognize sicknesses. That this person's sick. He says something, the person's sick right now. You feel bad for him. He thinks, he doesn't realize, but he's sick. He has a sick heart. These are diseases of the heart. When someone's backbiting, he has a sick heart. But you have to be aware of the symptoms of a sick heart in order to diagnose it. But better than that, we don't go around diagnosing people. We are supposed to diagnose ourselves. But automatically, when you become aware of the symptom, you're going to hear it. You'll be sitting there at the potluck eating, and someone says something. And now you say, uh-oh, sick heart. But you should not use it for that. You use it for your own rectification. Okay? Let's go forward. You have a point? You want to...
No, I just wanted to say, because sometimes you see some people are doing it, including yourself.
You have to stop.
But if you see something and if you feel good about the person or your friend, can you pinpoint, brother?
Yeah, but what did Imam Ghazali say? He says, وَإِن كُنْتَ صَادِقًا, if you were truthful, you do it quietly. You'd go quietly and tell him.
That you did not do what you did.
You tell him, you try to fix him and help him quietly.
Instead of telling somebody else, look what he did.
Exactly. Instead of saying it in front of everyone.
Or in the back to say, look, see what my funny did last night?
So listen to this now. He goes, وَيَكْفِيكَ زَاجِرًا عَنِ الْغِيبَ قَوْلُهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. He says, it is sufficient as a deterrent for you against backbiting are the words of Allah, majestic and magnificent and majestic. What does the ayah say? وَلَا يَكْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Allah says in the Quran, and let not some of you backbite others. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? No, you would despise that. Look at this now. Indeed, Allah likened you to one eating the flesh of the dead. فقد شبهك الله بآكل الميت ميتة فما أجدرك أن تحترز منها. How appropriate is it then for you to be on your guard against such a thing? Now, one question. Why? Yes? Yes?
Oh, like, let's say, for example, that, like, you're someone who backbites people, not necessarily in a malicious way, but you state, like, what's true. If you're trying to get rid of that, should you then, and let's say you can't be quiet because you don't talk much, like, should you then just say something nice about the person?
Last week what we said was this. I told you a friend of mine. Do you remember that? 2 weeks ago? Were you here 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who, in order to stop from backbiting in the house with his wife, they said, we will not mention anything good about anyone. If they're not here, we won't talk about them. Why? Because even when you start talking good, what are you going to say? Yeah, but... And right there, you just ruined everything.
It's nullified everything.
You just nullified everything. The best thing you have to do is start asking people for forgiveness every time you backbite. You're going to get so ashamed that you keep going to people.
But what if it causes more trouble than does good?
You don't tell them what you did.
Oh.
You don't say, yeah, I was backbiting you yesterday. Because they're going to say, what'd you say? And then they're going to say, who did you say it to? Now you just cause more problem. You just say, brother, can you forgive me for anything I may have done, in the past? We're bad people. Please forgive me for anything. Anything.
That's what we do on the Eid day.
Huh?
On the Eid day, that's what we do.
That's what we do Eid day, but you don't want to wait till Eid. We're talking about a person that wants to fix the backbiting problem.
You do it all the time when they used to separate.
Exactly. Let's go forward. Let's go forward.
ويمنعك من غيبة المسلمين أمر لو تفكرت فيه وهو أن تنظر إلى نفسك هل فيك عيب ظاهر أو باطن وهل أنت مقارف معصية سرا أو جهرا فإن عرفت ذلك من نفسك فاعلم أن عجزه عن التنزه عما نسبته إليه كعجزك وعذره كعذرك.
Yes, he says, look at this. There is a matter which would stop you from backbiting against Muslims, were you to ponder it. So the first key is thinking. Ponder. Think. Turn to yourself and consider, is there no flaw in you, apparent or hidden? Are you committing any act of disobedience, open or hidden? Are you perfect? If you know this to be so about yourself, know also that the other person's inability to free himself from what you have ascribed to him is the same as your own. And his excuse is the same as yours. You get it? Just, you have the same problem as him. Think over that. Think over that. Let's keep going. Just as you hate to be shamed and your faults to be mentioned, so too does he. Yet if you conceal his faults, Allah Most High will conceal yours. Allah Most High will conceal your faults. فإن سترته
ستر الله تعالى عليك وإن فضحته سلط الله عليك ألسنة حدادا يمزقون عرضك في الدنيا ثم يفضحك الله تعالى في الآخرة على رؤوس الملأ.
He says, if however you disgrace him, Allah will let loose upon you sharp tongues, ruining your honor in this world. You backbite people, you will be disgraced. You will be disgraced. Then Allah Most High, not only that in the world, will shame you in the hereafter in front of all of the creation. Because we know the hadith tell us whoever you spoke badly about, you have to give them hasanat. You have to give them your deeds. Not only will you be disgraced in this world, you'll be disgraced in the hereafter.
وإن نظرت إلى ظاهرك وباطنك فلم تطلع فيهما على عيب ونقص في دين أو دنيا فاعلم أن جهلك بعيوب نفسك أقبح أنواع الحماقة.
Subhanallah.
ولا عيب أعظم من الحمق.
Look at this. Let me. If you have looked at the outward and inward aspects of yourself and not found any flaws or deficiencies, neither in religious nor worldly affairs, then know that your ignorance of your own flaws is the vilest type of stupidity. You don't realize how many faults you have? That's worse.
There's no
Not only, look at the words Imam Ghazali uses. The vilest type of stupidity. You're unaware of your own faults. You know what's the worst thing about not being aware of your own faults? You can never improve.
And you'll never make Tawbah.
You'll never improve yourself. Look, once you know that I'm not perfect, you keep trying to become better. But once someone taps you on your back and says, you're good, you go, yeah, I am.
Yeah, right.
And that's it. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ said, you never praise your brother in his face because you have killed him. You have killed him. Why? You killed his progress. He feels he's good now. Oh, brother, you recite so good. Yeah, recite good. That's it. No more. He's not going to get better anymore. You killed his progress. You killed his progress.
The problem in this society is that always tell the children they are doing a good job.
This is important too. We need to have a discussion on this too. How do we balance it? Because I don't know. Wallahu alam. You have more experience than me as parents. I know that I know in Morocco you have a custom. You never praise them to their face at all, right? Never, right? Yeah.
Never. You get 99.9%. You said, oh, you still have more room.
Yeah. There has to be a balance.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance. With the children. Wallahu alam, I am not a child specialist. I have no children. Inshallah soon.
Between praising and encouragement in the right way.
Praising and encouragement, there's a difference. Very good point. Let's continue. Let's listen to Imam Ghazali. So he says, this is the vilest type of stupidity. And there is no greater flaw than stupidity. Why is it called stupidity? Because you're ignorant of your own fault. That's ignorant. You're ignorant of your own blemishes. You're seeing others' blemishes, but you're ignorant of your own. Let's keep going.
ولو أراد الله تعالى بك خيرا لبصرك بعيوب نفسك ورؤيتك نفسك بعين الرضا غاية غباوتك ومنتهى جهلك.
Yeah, listen. If Allah Most High wills good for you, how do you know Allah wants good for you? He will give you the ability to see your faults. Or He'll give you a good spouse that will let you know. I'm telling you, the sheikh isn't the sheikh with his wife. No one is nothing in front of their wife, man. They laugh at you. This guy.
Who does he think he is?
Oh man. But your love increases, subhanAllah. Okay, so listen. Listen what he says. He will give you the ability to see your own faults. Or a companion that will let you know. That's a good thing. Looking at yourself with an eye of satisfaction is the height of foolishness. Imam Ghazali, amazing.
Yeah,
If our children knew what this is, I'm telling you, if the youth knew what he's writing about, right now when you open your psychology textbook, same exact thing, and you're praising them. Oh, look at what they have. So, my professor's a genius. Okay, continuing. Sorry, I get off on these tangents. And the epitome of ignorance. Continue. Epitome.
ثم إن كنت صادقا في ظنك فاشكر الله تعالى عليه ولا تفسده بتلب الناس والتمضمض بأعراضهم فإن ذلك من أعظم العيوب.
Yes, if however you are truthful and sincere in your opinion, then show gratitude to Allah the Most High. Do not ruin this blessing by slandering others. Okay. Say you are free from a specific fault you see in a brother. If you're true and sincere, you should say, Alhamdulillah. If you don't have that fault, Alhamdulillah, Allah saved me from that thing. I have other stuff, but Alhamdulillah, Allah saved me from that thing. Do not ruin the blessing by slandering others and sullying their reputations, destroying their reputation. For that is one of the greatest of faults. So if you don't have that particular fault, Alhamdulillah, don't ruin the blessing by ruining his reputation for that. The next thing after ghibah is arguing, debating with people. Any questions or things on ghibah? Go ahead, Saeed.
Okay. I have two situations, basically which I think all of us, but at least myself, will fall into every day. One is you're sitting in a gathering and you are not doing the backbiting. Let's say you are sitting quietly, but everybody else is, one way or other way involved in that.
Yeah.
What should you do in that?
It depends on your personality. What you have to do is not participate in it.
Okay,
We know that. We all agree that you get the sin for backbiting if you just sit there and smile. Sometimes we enjoy it. That's the worst.
Okay.
And you think I'm not backbiting, so you just sit there. You're laughing. Other times you're like, man, this is bad. We're backbiting this person. My good deeds are being given to this person because of what these guys are saying. You have to understand, people have sick hearts. And they have to get that out. So they don't go to the psychologist. They come in front of you and tell you everything in their heart. They're trying to get it out. Would you let someone come and throw garbage on your front lawn? By no means. But you're letting them throw garbage on your heart by listening to that. They're just regurgitating whatever dirtiness they have in their heart. That someone did something wrong, now they just got to let it out. You have to stop them somehow. How do you do it? That's where you have to use your wisdom. If you're in a position where people listen to you, hey guys, let's stop backbiting. If you have the courage, say it. If you can't change the subject, you have to try to find a way to stop it, yes?
Or leave.
Or leave.
Second question.
Okay, second question.
Let's say sometimes it's individual basis, but sometimes you talk about somebody who is like holding a public office.
It's still backbiting, by the way.
So
Very good
that's
point.
Happen a lot.
Figures are not exempted. Figures are not exempted from the rule of backbiting because he's on TV all the time. It's still backbiting. It's still backbiting.
Even if it's factual.
Even if it's a kafir. Can you imagine giving your deeds to someone that won't benefit from them on Yom Qiyamah?
So it's like backbiting, like factual statements.
Yeah, that's hard. What you do, okay, there's many questions at once. Okay, the one question was, how do you get forgiveness from someone that is not around anymore? You make dua for that person, give sadaqah for that person until you feel that you've repaid what you did wrong to them. But you make dua, pray for them and stuff like that. Next thing you said?
The thing with this is that sometimes there's someone who has maybe they committed some sin, but they've made tawbah. So people are still
Remembering, yes.
yeah, and talking about and feel justified.
But they already did tawbah from that. That's a very good thing. Did the sisters hear that?
No.
He said, say someone did something in the past, and he did tawbah for that. He feels horrible. He did tawbah. Sincere tawbah, such a tawbah, he got closer to Allah. Sometimes we don't know he did tawbah and we're backbiting him for that thing. He's been forgiven. And now you're getting sin for just remembering that thing. Remembering that thing. Remembering that thing. There was another point.
That political stuff, which like,
Yeah, I know. We have a problem because we're used to tabloids. We're used to media. Media, I have an article on Islamic media written by Mufti Shafi. There's usuls to media. Relating news. And because we live in this environment where they will tell you if they had an affair, if they did this, we delve into personal lives.
And now because of that,
So this is not this Islamic way. But unfortunately our youth, and we are here so much that we're like, it's normal, he's a celebrity. We have a right to go into your news.
So what about if it's not like a fair or something like that, something like economical, it's like actual factual stuff?
No, that's different. You're talking about this fiscal policy. This is a horrible policy. But when you just start saying Obama's a horrible individual, you just backbid him for no reason.
No, but when you are in a political debate, you're trying to convince people to, vote for someone. And most of the people, if they are not aware of the person or their...
So now you're going against, you're going against the policy of that person, not the personal integrity.
Any action which he is doing is harming the country or the
But
nation.
he took previously which home country?
No, see, you have to understand one of the important usuls that Imam Nawawi expresses about backbiting. When you're backbiting to protect people from harm, you have to do this.
Okay,
you have to do this. But your intention is only to protect people from harm. Not to disgrace the individual. Okay? Everyone understands. And remember this, the part of the celebrities is important. We live in a society where it's understood the celebrities are free ground.
I know.
I can talk about him, he's a celebrity. No, you can't. He's the individual that will come on Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, I want my rights. For everyone that backbit me.
My question was specific to the who are the holding the offices. Like, you know,
Control the tongue. We have to control the
your
tongue.
President, your prime minister, because let's say if they are doing any corruption, you know that, and
Yeah, that's different. You're doing it to stop the injustice.
but not their personal life.
No, not at all a personal.
Because political debate happens so much.
Yeah.
Wherever you sit, you keep on talking and talking.
But
and
you
talking.
notice sometimes it gets personal. A lot of times it gets very just personal. Like we're just talking.
People have no idea.
There's no respect for the individual izzat and honor of the person, especially once they become a celebrity in our life. Why are we reading about the adultery of a person? This is the personal life. You have no need to indulge. Imam Ghazali is telling you to write a tabloid about yourself. Write a tabloid about your own personal life. Don't read the tabloids of other people's lives. But the society is built totally different. And of course, this is something you have to train yourself that this is wrong. This is wrong. But the kids see it. We've seen it our whole life.
We have a right to know.
Yeah, we feel we have a right to know. I need to know if the president was committing adultery. I need to know that. No, you don't. That's his personal life. May Allah cover his faults.
Question.
It's a totally different way of thinking. But you have to bring it in. If someone comes to me or anyone in a position of some type of authority and says, this brother's doing this, can you take care of it? Yes.
So toppling dictatorship like that way, using like backbiting, you said, like to save the people.
Yeah, if he's a zalim, you're saving people from persecution. You're saving people from zulm. From oppression. Now, if someone comes to me and just wants to release now, they're just letting loose. I can't do anything. He knows I can, but he just needs to let go. I'm going to have to try to, some way, say, brother, you're backbiting. Please stop. But it's very hard. I know, it's very hard. You're not attacking the individual. You're attacking a policy that this is detrimental to our community. Now, if there's an individual who personally is detrimental to the community, then even in that situation, you have to speak up. Because his personal self is harming people. He's oppressor. He's doing something that will harm us. The other time you have to speak the truth is if someone consults you when it comes to marriage and business. Someone comes to you and say, is this brother good for me to marry? You have to be truthful as much as you can. It's hard. Heart clean, and say just what you have to say to be truthful to this person. For marriage and business, someone says, I want to do business with this person. You did business with him. Should I do business with him? You can say yes or no. That's not backbiting. He's consulting you. You have to tell him the truth. But now once you start going, there's a limit. There's a point where it goes halal, 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 oh, haram. For next class, I'll bring out a printout. Imam Ghazali, Imam Nawawi, the one who wrote Riyadh al-Salihin, he wrote a book called Adhkar, where he put a long chapter of ghiba, the rulings of ghiba. So next week, inshallah, inshallah, it's in Riyadh al-Salihin too. We'll have a discussion just on ghiba. We won't read it from here, so we can read the permissible situations, the unpermissible situations, and the whole thing. So for next class, inshallah, we'll print that up in English. If not in English, I have the Arabic, but I think I can find the English. If there's even one slight chance that that's not true, now you're doing beyond backbiting. You're slandering this individual. So you have to know that this person does this. He did this. But next week, we'll study ghiba in detail, the permissible situations when you can't backbite in detail. Scholars have written long. Even Imam Ghazali, this is a short book. In his book Ihya al-Ulumuddin, he wrote in detail. About when can you, when can't you. So I'll get Ihya al-Ulumuddin.
I have that book.
Yeah, that's a very good book. Very good book. We'll go through that. I'll print it out just like we printed this out, and we'll study from that next week, inshallah. Okay? Can we go forward? Bismillah.
الرابع المراء والجدال ومناقشة الناس بالكلام.
Number 4, disputation, argumentation, and competitive debate with people.
فذلك فيه إيذاء للمخاطب وتجهيل له وطعن فيه وفيه ثناء على النفس وتزكية لها بمزيد الفطنة والعلم.
Look at this. These things entail harming the one being addressed, making him feel ignorant, criticizing him, as well as praising oneself and attesting to one's own superiority in both intelligence and knowledge. So look, if someone does something you don't like, you can't speak about it behind his back, and you can't speak about it in his face unless you're consoling him. You can't go in his face, you did this, you did that, you did... No. Either way. Someone said to me, he came to me, he's like, I can't do anything. I was like, exactly. There's nothing. You just let it go. Make dua for the brother. There's nothing I can do. Your reward is with Allah. You don't oppress him now. Keep going.
ثم هو مشوش للعيش لأنك إن ما رأيت سفيها آذاك وإن ما رأيت حليما ألاك وحقد عليك وقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من ترك المراء وهو مبطل بنى الله له بيتا في ربد الجنة ومن ترك المراء وهو محق بنى الله له بيتا في أعلى الجنة.
Moreover, these things, what are we talking about? Arguing, disputing, going against each other. Moreover, these things disturb the clarity and peace in your life. You get in an argument, for the whole week you're going to be... You get in an argument with someone you love, oh my goodness, man. It just happened. Look what Imam Ghazali is saying. Moreover, these things disturb the clarity and peace in your life. Arguments definitely take away your clarity and peace. For sure for the day. For sure the day is gone. Your whole day is gone. And depending on your love for the individual will determine how long it goes. The clarity. Avoid arguments. Avoid arguments. Just admit, you're right, brother. You're right. Yes, 100%. You're right. Avoid the argument as much as you can. Look at the hadith. Look at this. Look at what he... Subhanallah. Because if you debate with a fool, he will annoy you. If you debate with a more intelligent person, he will disdain and detest you. If he's a fool, you can't make a fool understand. He's a fool. He's ignorant. If you bring all the proofs in the world, he will never accept it. Even if you're true. We all know. Someone proves it. No. No, you're wrong. You cannot, and if he's a wise person, you're just going to accept him. You're the fool. You're the fool. So don't argue with a fool or a wise person. You can never convince a fool of something. And if you're arguing with a wise person, you are the fool. But you don't realize it, of course. Look at this hadith. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, whoever leaves quarrel while he knows he's wrong, you know we do this. You know you're wrong, but you just keep going. Allah will build him a house in the outskirts of paradise, suburbs. Get a house in the suburbs. And whoever leaves a quarrel when he's right, you know you're right, but you say, okay. Allah will build him a house in the highest part of paradise, the flats, downtown. You get the condos downtown. Other people like suburbs, but those with real cash go downtown at the heights. Right? So those who give up arguing when they're right. Can you guys, can we do this? You know you're right and this person's arguing with you? That's hard. But the ego has to be destroyed. That I am something. You're attacking me now. No. You're right, brother. It's okay. Question.
If you are sitting somewhere, somebody, it's just like religious question, and he give the ruling or answer, whatever, which is you think is wrong.
Leave it. Leave it.
Just
leave it. Trust me, leave it. It's wiser to leave it. Come back the next day, brother. I think you were wrong on that issue. If he's willing to understand. If he's not going to understand, don't even try. Don't even try. The more you see what is allowed and what's not allowed. Today you guys learned a lot about saliva and stuff, right? You have more knowledge than some other people. other people may say something wrong, and you may say something, and someone says, brother, you're wrong. You just read it, you understood it, you have the delete. The more knowledge you get, and let me say it this way. I heard one scholar say that the more knowledge you get, seldom do you see things wrong. Because there's an opinion for a valid opinion for what's being said. What I'm saying is sometimes you have to choose silence in the situation to avoid fitna. And sometimes you have to respect difference of opinion. You have to respect difference of opinion. There are many times someone may say something in front of me. To me it's wrong. But I know he's following a valid opinion of someone. It's okay. But I know it's wrong. According to my understanding. Not a right, a responsibility to speak the truth. But you don't have to argue.
Don't argue.
There's difference. One thing is saying, this may be wrong, this, that. Now the next thing is when the argument starts. The argument is when now you're going at each other. One thing is standing up saying, brother, I think you're wrong. Because of this. That, you did your job. You spoke the truth. But now to engage in a debate with him, no, we have to look when the ego comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
The main thing is the ego. When you're fighting just because your ego's in it, that's where you stop. If you're standing up for haqq, just to make sure people hear the truth, we have to do this. You discuss the entire body. You don't isolate the individual. You speak to the entire body. That this is what my opinion. Because you know what? You may be wrong too. You always have to think that maybe I'm wrong too. The way I think he's 100% wrong, maybe I'm 100% wrong. So address the whole committee. Address everyone. You don't have to attack that person and get into an argument. Because you cannot win an argument.
No.
Okay, may Allah give us tawfiq. May Allah give us tawfiq to act upon everything we read. Let's not forget the benefit we got from this. Looking at our own faults. Looking at our own faults and pondering over those faults. Blinding yourself thereby of the faults of others. Look at your faults so much that you blind yourself from the faults of others. And let's try to keep to the text next week. Inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.